Hello and welcome to Geoscope on Politics Social. I'm Graham Hughes and I'm joined, as almost always, by Ollie Bowlerhatman. How you doing, Ollie? You
It's
all right,
me.
mate?
All right. I'm all right. I'm okay. It's
Y-
been a
yeah.
interesting past couple of days, I think. Um,
Yeah, been a bit of a roller coaster, to say the absolute least. So, just to give people context here, last week, out of nowhere, the US announced that it had a plan, a 28-point plan for
well,
peace in Ukraine, which required Ukraine to bend over and take it from like everyone in Russia, really, starting with Vladimir Putin. And it turns out that the plan was not invented by some Americans. It was actually just invented by a Russian who gave it to an American who went, "Here you go, lads. This will end the war."
yeah, which was basically here's everything we want. Um,
Yes.
you know, we want all this territory. We want you to limit the size of your military. We want back in the G8.
Yeah, back in the G8, even though they've got a
All
GDP on a
like
par with, I don't know,
European
Nicaragua.
sanctions to be lifted.
Yeah.
This was everything Russia basically has been dreaming of, and not only that, but wanting all the way back the start of the Istanbul talks between Ukraine,
Yeah.
back when all this kicked off in 2022.
Yeah.
So this was kind of shocking that this came out and said, yeah, this is the peace deal you're going to have, and by the way, you've got until Thanksgiving to um
Yeah.
to agree to it, or else we're walking away.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a question for you. On a list of GDP countries by per capita GDP, right? Out of Montserrat, Trinidad and Tobago, American Samoa, Palau, San Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, French Polynesia, the Cook Islands, Barbados, Latvia, Oman, the Maldives, and Cuba. Oh, and Russia, which scores last out of that list of countries I just said out my face.
Russia.
Russia,
Yeah.
yeah. Russia, 67th on the list.
Yeah.
It's even lower if you include territories, but just in terms of UN nations, it's 67th on the list. It's at the bottom of the first third of countries of the world, and it wants to be in the G8. Okay, can Barbados join the G8 then?
Well,
What about Uruguay? Come on.
this is one of these weird things where it's just like I don't know why, but maybe it's just one of these things where Putin again just sees it as more of a propaganda thing
I think
rather
so.
than anything else. So
I
I
think
think
so.
that's why that was there more than
Panama's
anything else. They're
Panama's
like,
got a
oh
higher
look,
GDP.
G8.
Panama's got a higher GDP per capita than Russia. I mean, it's 67th on the list out of 197. It's not great, is it?
I
I'm
mean,
just saying.
this is just insane. It was insane right from the start of this that this got put out, and the fact that this has been done by again just accepted by I don't even think I think this because there's been a lot of stuff said over this that this was actually leaked by Russia,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
they initially leaked this
Yeah.
to try and sort of force like America, not only just America, but Ukraine and America, but Ukraine and Europe and America apart from each other.
Yeah.
Luckily, though, pretty much every single European country and pretty much every single European leader very quickly came out and basically said, yeah, we don't think so. So
Yeah, but no, but
that I'm very, very pleased to see on that front. That is
yeah.
something I'm very, very pleased to see
Yeah.
that happened. So it just goes to show you the amount of support that Ukraine has in Russia, in not in Russia, in Europe. So that is very, very good that that happened and that was said by the European leaders.
Yes.
Of course, Europe apparently still, because in the last couple of hours, apparently Ukraine has said that there is some sort of deal
A
that they are
19
prepared
point
to
deal.
accept.
Is that the 19-point deal?
But well, potentially, I don't know what's actually in it because this literally only came. This is only said like 2 or 3 hours ago, and I haven't been able to find anything what's actually in this supposed deal that they've agreed to. So apparently, it's a more modified deal.
Yeah.
What those modifications are, I don't know. Will Russia agree to these modifications?
I doubt it.
Who knows?
Oh no, they might
Um,
agree and then just turn around and say, "Oh no, we're only joking," because that's the
yeah,
kind of thing that they like reneging on deals. It's a nation of renegades,
yeah,
renegers.
and this is something that needs to be brought up because you've got most of you may or may not have heard of a guy throughout all this called Alexander Dugin. And if you don't know who Alexander Dugin is like this big thought leader for that all the people like Vladimir Putin, etc., all these big people in the administration all view him as like this like the intelligentsia leader of like their movement. And their whole shtick is the worst thing to happen ever was not the fall of the USSR. The worst thing to actually happen was the Bolshevik Revolution, which basically took down the Russian Empire. Now, part of that Russian Empire, we must stress, was of course Ukraine. You had Belarus, Finland, Poland, the Baltic states, pretty much. Those were all part of those countries in Europe. Not all of that, but you also had pretty much all the Caucasus states as well. There were parts of Asia in there as well. If you remember when this all kicked off, you had that very uncomfortable talk, I think, with the president of, I think it was Kazakhstan, phoned up Putin and said, yeah, when you said, retake all, Russian imperial territory, you didn't mean us, did you? And Putin had to reassure him, oh, no, I totally didn't mean you yet. But this is what their thinking is. And Dugin has been heard to say that it doesn't matter what peace agreement we sign, in 2 years, Ukraine will be Russia's. So a big part of this deal really has to be future security guarantees,
Yes.
because I cannot see Ukraine agreeing to any of this
No.
at all
No.
if this does not guarantee future security guarantees, which will stop a future Russian invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the Ukrainians have been very, very adamant on this. They do not want to be fighting this war again in 2, 5, 10 years' time.
Which they will under the first proposal.
Yeah.
Before we go on, Ollie, can I just say a big shout out to everyone watching? Hello, how you all doing this fine evening? I realise we just kind of jumped in there.
Yep.
If you want to join the chat, you're very welcome to. All we ask in return is give us a like, hit on the thumb. And if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. That allows you to add your thoughts to the situation going on in the chat there. And also, it helps the channel out. It helps the channel out to, get out to more people, get out to more eyeballs so more people can watch. Oh, or listen. This show is actually available on YouTube Music. So you don't even have to look at us. You can just listen to our dulcet tones. It's beautiful. Anyway, so as we were saying, it's going to be a bloody nightmare for everybody. That's just the way it is. Oh, Chris C is saying that NATO jets have been scrambled to track 2 Russian drones that crossed into Romanian airspace.
Yeah,
along with the 2 boats that came into British waters this week. Farage didn't say anything about that. He doesn't mind it when the immigrants coming in boats are Russian.
Yeah, this is, we're going to have to see probably how the next couple of days unfold about this. It's very likely we'll probably find out what is in this modified deal and whether not only the Ukrainians will actually agree to it, because it's not just Zelensky agreeing to it. Zelensky's got to put this to his parliament. Will the Ukrainian parliament vote yes on that deal? Depending what's in that deal, we don't know. So that will be
it might be put to a referendum.
I don't think it'll do in a referendum. You can't do something like that in a referendum. no way will they do that. You cannot even have an election in Ukraine right now. There's no way they're going to do a referendum
Okay.
on it. So it is just
You know,
we'll have to wait and see
one of the
what comes out in this
stipulations
deal.
is they have to have an election within like 30 days of the end of hostilities because they want to get rid of Zelensky that badly. And then Russia's going to interfere as best it can. Oh, we just had a super chat, which is lovely. Thank you very much to Brad W8102. Thank you so much. Will the SMO ending cause Russian hyperinflation, the special military operation? Will it cause Russian hyperinflation? No, because Russia is being it's being
I
backed
think
by
it will.
America, mate, and
You
the
cannot run your
Saudis
economy this hot. You
and
cannot
Iran.
run your economy this hot and then just
bail him
turn
out.
it off.
They'll just bail him out. You've seen what happened with silly Millie in fucking Argentina. He just gets bailed out by his billionaire mates. They just take money off. They'll take money off taxpayers and give it to his fascist mates. He's already done it with Javier Milei. He's done it. And didn't suffer anything, any consequences because of it. They keep going on about how far down he is in the polls. He's still on 39%. He's still on 39%.
I think he's lower than that. He's in the
40s. just under 39% approval. That's all he's on. And that's all he's ever going to be on. Except when there's an election coming and they need to rig it so he wins again. But
I disagree.
Forgive my cynicism.
Ending this war, like Russia's economy is done because you cannot go from a running hot war economy, which Vladimir Putin has basically done. You cannot then turn that off. You cannot just go, right, this factory is constantly churning out bullets. Oh, the war's over. Now what do you do? What do you do with all those soldiers, all that pension that you've now promised all those soldiers as well on that one? There's a ton of stuff that this is going to be very, very bad
just
for
kill
Russia.
the soldiers.
Economically, it's not going to be good.
They don't care.
Their biggest hope isn't America, because it's not America that's going to be bailing them out. It's going to be China. China will be the one that if things go really, really bad for Russia, China will be the one that will be bailing out Russia. And not only that, but China will absolutely gouge Russia deep for this. They will look at things, in Siberia, an area that is, chock full of like resources, but is very, very under developed. And they will just go, we'll take that, we'll take that, we'll take that, we'll take that. Not territory-wise, of course, but Chinese companies will move in, and they will just extract all that stuff into China, and that will basically be at that point Russia in China's pocket. That is potentially what would happen, depending on how that goes.
See that happening. I really don't think the Russian economy is going to collapse. We've been hearing about the Russian economy collapse now for 3 years, and I'm sick of it. We've been hearing about Putin being on his last legs. He's got cancer, he's got AIDS, he's got gonorrhea, he's got all these things. He's dying, and he's not. It's like Trump, oh my God, he stumbled climbing up a fucking flight of stairs. Oh, he's dead, everyone. And you're like, calm down. This is it. This is a smoke. This is the thing that's going to take Trump down. This is it. Oh, there's a video of him noshing off Bill Clinton. That is it. That's it. He's done for. And then he just goes, I did that, whatever. And everyone's just like, oh, I'm fed up with getting excited about this
stuff. The Russian economy has been... It's only been managed to be propped up because Putin has been propping it up.
Yeah, but he'll do a deal with China.
It is bad. They are dealing with like 20-30% inflation apparently.
Yeah,
and that is because Putin just refuses for the Russian bank to actually release what the number of inflation actually is. They won't tell people what inflation actually is. They just go, inflation's a bit up today. It might go down tomorrow. We don't know. And that's basically how they
live in fantasy land.
Inflation for the past couple of years.
They live in fantasy land. The Russians don't care. The Russians lived through Stalinism. They lived through the fall of the Soviet Empire. There was no popular uprising in Russia. There might have been popular uprisings in Germany and other countries within the Soviet sphere of influence, and even within the Soviet Union, but it wasn't Moscow. Everyone just did as they were told because they were too fucking scared to step out of line. Because as a nation, it's all they've ever known.
The other thing as well that's worth bringing up is one angry pagan bringing up the massive demographic crisis that is going on in Russia as well. Throwing your entire youth population into this, as Russia has done, is not going to help your demographics crisis either.
Just kill all the old
Especially
people.
It's not just that; they've been throwing young people at this as well. This has been
well, that's what I'm saying. The problem is that there's not enough young people, right? So what they'll simply do is just get rid of all the old people, so they don't have to pay for them, and then it doesn't matter if there's fewer young people. Be more money to go around.
They don't have too much. I don't believe the Russian pension is that particularly good compared to the other European countries, as far as I'm aware.
Nope. Yeah. Power to the People says, sorry, Graham says, I stopped following a few US pages because their thumbnails always said, Trump, term ending, breaking news. And it never, ever, ever is anything like that. I'm with Graham. I'm sorry. I'm just sick of seeing people go, it's the end of all things. And I'm just like, oh, I'd love it to be. I'd love Millet to do really badly, but they just had the midterms over there and he did really well. And the economy hasn't collapsed because Trump gave him $40 billion pounds worth, dollars worth of Americans' money.
Out, but he's going to have to do it again because
he will
that bailout did not solve the Argentinian economy problem. That is going to continue.
Yeah.
So it's just a question of how much does he go burning through that cash as well.
Well, he will. I mean, because, you know, the anarcho-capitalism is somewhat unsustainable. It's based on being a Nepo baby. And Millet is Trump's Nepo baby.
But the thing with that was there was a lot of MAGA people, especially the farmers, especially his own trade advisor, who got, if you remember, got really, really pissed off.
Yeah, for like 5 minutes, and then they forgot. They've got the memory of fucking goldfish, these people. Don't forget that the farmers got fucked over in Trump's first term when he stopped all the farm subsidies, and they still voted for him. You know, I don't know. I think that a lot of what's happened in the last few years, Ollie, has just really dented my faith in human intelligence. There's just a lot of people out there who are just like, yes, feed me more shit. I don't know anything else. Just, I love it. And you're like, aren't you sick of being fed shit? And even now, you got in the UK. I know. The polls have gone down for what's his name, Vladimir Farage over here, and his Russian cronies in the Refuck Party. But it's still like 1 in 4 people who say, yeah, I'm still with him. Even though he's a massive racist and he's possibly working for the Russians, he's the guy for me. You know, the guy whose top 3 policies are what is it? All multimillionaires to get the posh bank account that they want. They're going to stop children wearing earmuffs in schools, and they're going to flood all the people who voted for them because they're doing away with flood defences because climate change isn't true.
Yeah, that's been something I've been. I predicted this when all this happened, that these places that got rid of the flood defense committees, you know, specific committees dedicated to talking about preventing and planning for flooding, they got rid of them. And George Finch, you know, one of these, you know, the leader of Warwickshire County Council, when what flood had happened on a weekend, turns around and goes, oh, don't worry, Monday morning, me and my fellow UKippers will be straight into County Hall to approve some extra funding for flood defence. Didn't do it. He ran off down to Westminster to have a press conference.
After the event. Oh my God.
Yeah, he went off to have a press conference with Tyson Farage down in Westminster.
And the Russian ambassador.
So.
Oh my God.
Oh, what?
I'm just saying. Oh my God! I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. You know, I thought something had come out. Then you were like,
I'm just saying that, you know, as Graham's saying in the chat, just the fucking stupidity of it all is just mind blowing. It burns. It literally burns me. You got a country here like Russia, which is obviously evil. Like, what does it have to do? Are these people the kind of people who watch a movie and they'll see someone dressed in black who goes around biting the heads off kittens, and at the end of the movie go, "Was that the baddie?" And you turn to them and you're like, Did you not pick up the fact that they were dressed in black and biting the heads off kittens? Did that not kind of give it away that they were the bad guys? And they're like, no. I thought those kittens needed to die. You know, it's a very strange world that we are occupying at the moment. So yeah, talking of strange world, you know the 2020 election in America, you know it was rigged, right?
No.
You know it was
What is-
rigged. You'll never guess who rigged it, according to Trump.
Oh, was it the ghost of El Chapo?
No, it was Venezuela.
Oh, okay.
And the answer is Venezuela. If it's on the board, I'll give you the money myself. Venezuela. Trump is now suggesting that Venezuela rigged the 2020 election in favor of Biden.
Oh, I'll tell you what else is funny has happened. Do you know that the US accidentally invaded Mexico?
Oh, again, what happened? Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so Hegseth apparently authorized some signs to go up on the border that were to do with like displaying, like American US Department defense land.
Yeah.
Turns out they got very lost when trying to put in these signs, and yeah, they put them in Mexico's territory. So there's videos you can see of like these Mexican troops digging up these signs because they put them in wrong.
One of the bits I love in the movie The Day After Tomorrow is that all the Americans have to like flee to Mexico. And all the Mexicans are like, shall we let you into our country now that your country is frozen over? That was quite a good point, you know. I hope no one built any walls or fences or put down any bloody landmines in the way. But yeah, very few people are now moving to America. And this is a weird thing, right? Because Americans have been told all their lives that they are the best in the world and that everyone, no matter where they are born, if they're not born in America, all they want to do with their life is to earn enough money so they can move to America. And now hardly anyone's going to America. Like the number of tourists have gone down, but also the number of people who are migrating there has just absolutely collapsed. And they're kind of like, oh, hang on, but don't you want to come here? And everyone's like, no. And last week, Trump started saying that he was going to give fast track visas to anyone coming for the World Cup next year. Ollie, are you going to go to America for the World Cup next year?
No.
I
would never go to a World Cup anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, fair enough. But I mean, even if you were into football, would you risk having your phone looked through and being detained because you said some hurty words about Donald Trump? I wouldn't. No. I wouldn't risk that. You know, when I went to Saudi Arabia, I wiped my laptop. I made sure I didn't have anything on my hard drive about where I've been or what I've been doing or anything. You know, I had to be squeaky clean just in case they checked it out. They didn't. But back then, I didn't have a smartphone. Now I've got a smartphone, and I'm a bit reluctant to sort of. What do you do? Do you take another phone and put that in your check-in luggage? And you travel through with a burner or something? I don't know. I'm just not doing it. There are matches going to be held in Mexico and Canada. I might be up for going to one of them because they're the good countries of North America, whereas America itself is the bad country of North America. But yeah. And so Venezuela is accusing the US at the moment of narco-terrorism. And not accusing it. They're being accused of narco-terrorism, and they're saying that this is an excuse being used by the Americans to invade, which is slightly ironic because you remember last year when you and I were talking about the referendum they had in Venezuela to invade their neighboring country of Guyana.
Yeah.
And the referendum won. Like the side saying we should start this war against our neighbor, we should totally invade and take all their land. It won. Be careful what you vote for. Because now they're going to go, well, you know, obviously that's an acceptable thing to do. And America's a much bigger country, much better armed than Venezuela is. And they'll just go, yeah, all right then. We'll take you and Guyana. Cheers. Push them off the branch. See you later, Maduro.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be interesting what happens. But I think this is where Ukraine comes back into it. Because I know John Bolton, but, you know, he's spoken out quite a lot against Trump. I saw him do an interview with the Times on this. And one of the things he said, and I very, very much agree with what he was saying, after this peace deal has been signed, Trump won't care.
Yeah.
If this falls apart, he won't care. I mean,
Yeah.
technically, the peace deal that was between, the Hamas and Israel has fallen apart. That's fallen to pieces. So that ceasefire is now over. Um, and the bombing has now been restarted by the IDF, and even Hamas has said, "Yeah, we're going back to war to achieve what exactly."
Yeah.
I don't know, but so that never failed. That obviously failed. And Trump hasn't said a word about that
Yeah.
since that fell apart. So it's honestly one of those things of, if this gets signed, or this deal gets signed, Trump isn't going to care what happens after.
Yeah.
If Putin reinvades, like at the end of Trump's presidency, he won't care.
No. Well, he didn't care what happened to the people of Afghanistan that he betrayed
Yeah.
by having a secret meeting with the Taliban. He didn't care about the servicemen who were killed in Afghanistan by the Taliban on the way out. He didn't care about the Kurdish rebels who they
Yeah.
worked with in and fought alongside in Syria, were just left out to dry and die at the hands of both the Al-Assad regime and ISIS, who are both gunning for them. Yeah, just fucking fuck. Just he
Yep.
doesn't care. He doesn't care. I mean, Trump only cares about one person, and that person is Trump. He's
Yeah,
only
and
president so he can just feather his nest, so he can make loads and loads of fucking.
and that is the problem, that he just doesn't care, and that in itself goes and creates a lot of problems.
This
so
is why anyone going into politics, Ollie, anyone in the world going into politics, you get your salary for being a politician, and that's all you get. You cannot have any other jobs. That's it. That's the rule. And yes, that means that we might have 2 less doctors. I don't give a fuck. I'd rather have 2 less doctors who are qualified but can't practice because of an MP, than this situation where we have people like Farage, who's making 10 times more than he makes from his MP's salary by shilling on the side for oil companies, gold companies, Saudi government, the Russian government.
I believe he's the highest earner now in Parliament, I believe.
Yeah.
Just wasn't a surprise at all.
By a mile, by an absolute country mile.
Yeah.
He leaves the Tories well in the dirt. But yeah, it's just absolutely disgraceful. Hilgara wants to know any geoscoping on the water supply in Iran. There's a big drought in Iran, and they're having real trouble getting water to the capital, Tehran. I don't know enough about it, to be honest with you, to got off on one about it, but it does look like it's a climate change related disaster affecting an oil-rich state, which is kind of shit, but also, well, maybe stop pushing people to use oil, and then maybe the planet will find some kind of equilibrium. I don't know. But yeah, also in the Middle East, Israel has struck Beirut this week, taking out a Hezbollah chief. It's said it's the first time that it's struck Lebanon for quite a while, and there's been an outcry about Palestinians who happened to be in Israel on the 7th of October 2023 remain stuck in exile. Well, stuck between exile and war, and their legal status is unclear. And there's hundreds of people who have got Palestinian citizenship that don't know what to do. They can't go home. You can't go home, and you can't stay here. So that's pretty shit.
Things have been heating up between Pakistan and Afghanistan as well.
Yes.
We had, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, a series of very large border skirmishes.
Yes.
Between them and the Pakistan Taliban. To make us remember, there's different sections of the Taliban.
Yes. But the Afghan Taliban is accusing Pakistan of killing 10 people in strikes, which included 9 children. And this follows a suicide attack in Peshawar. And yeah, Afghan-Pakistani relations are not going so well at the moment.
Yep. So that will be possibly another hotspot in the not too distant future, because one of the things, remember that the big Trump deal that they were meant to do was they weren't going to harbor any more terrorist organizations. Currently, I think according to the UN, there's about 20 different terrorist organizations hiding Afghanistan. So,
Cool.
and yet another failure of Trump diplomacy.
Yeah.
Honestly, you will be able. There will be a quiz in the future, or there will just be a book called the Trump's greatest failures that just chart all like Trump's like foreign policy
All
failures
the knock-on
and what are the
effects.
consequences of them, whereas they all
Yeah.
fell to pieces. Yeah, Trump is not going to be remembered very fondly in the future. That's for sure.
I think I'll call it lies and consequence. I'm just writing that down for when I send that off to my publisher. Not that I have a publisher, but you know. But yes, the nation of Iran is really suffering at the moment, particularly in Tehran, the capital. They're having to start water rationing, and people are going to be evacuated because there's not enough water to go around. And this is a canary in a coal mine, or the canary in the coal mine when it comes to what's going to happen with climate. Now, Iran is fortunate in some ways that it's a fucking big country. It is a really big country, so maybe you can move people around to where there's more water. But a lot of countries are smaller than Iran, and there's literally nowhere for people to go. And I often think about Bangladesh, where their problem isn't going to be too little water, it's going to be too much water. They're obviously in the confluence or the delta of the Ganges, and also half the population live below sea level. And as tides get incrementally higher and higher, that water's coming in, salting the soil, and destroying people's lives. But yeah, and COP finished this week without any kind of agreement on dialing back on fossil fuels.
Again, not surprised.
They said, "Oh, we might not chop down some trees." I don't think I think they need to stop having these COP meetings. They need to stop it.
Just all again, no, I think there is worth having these meetings because I think it took a long time to actually get these meetings going in the first place. So if you do end them,
yeah,
that's you have to then restart this process, and it took a long time to get these.
Yeah, and you can,
going in the
but
first
then
place, so
you only need to have one meeting and don't invite Saudi Arabia or Russia, and then your policies won't get derailed by Saudi Arabia and Russia. Just don't invite the fuckers. We don't need them. We don't need their permission.
Part of the solution at one point.
Why do we need Russia's permission to do green stuff?
Yeah.
Why do we need Saudi Arabia's permission to stop using oil?
Yeah.
Of course they're not going to give it. How do they have that power over us? We're supposed to be a sovereign country living in a sovereign fucking continent. How do these countries?
Because they have to control a heck of a lot of oil.
Yes. But if we don't
use a lot of other business interests as well.
If the only oil that we use is coming from the North Sea, and that's for industrial purposes, and it's only 1% of our entire energy mix, then we're laughing. We've got enough oil to last that small proportion on our island for the rest of fucking time. Instead, we're selling it to who knows who, on the I was gonna say the black market then, but it's not, is it? The international market.
The
international market. One Pagan says Iran is looking to move the capital of Iran, move Tehran, which is a shame. Tehran's quite a cool city. It's a bit like, if you ever go to Santiago in Iran, or you go to Beirut in Lebanon, you've got a city and you've got mountains behind the city, like a backdrop. It looks almost fake. Do you know what I mean? Because you got these like snow-capped mountains in the background. You're like, whoa.
Not something you would expect.
No. Where those fucking mountains come from? It's kind of crazy, but it makes it look so much more dramatic and cool. And the things like they always try to make New York look cool, and it's just because of the tall buildings, but you can't really see the tall buildings from anywhere in New York because of all the other tall buildings if you're at street level. But when you're at street level somewhere like Santiago, wherever you are, you can see the mountains because they're so far away. You know, as long as you've got a straight line of view, a line of sight, I should say. So they're possibly moving it to a region called Makran, or possibly Chabahar, because of the water. We're going to get too much water. They're going to get too little. Control the resources and you control the world, says Paul Atreides. Sorry, person impersonator there. And Hilgara says, we need our oil for our jets and our tanks and our ships. I hope civilian life becomes renewables. Yeah. But if only, Hilgara, if only there was a way of transporting a ship across the ocean using, I don't know, some kind of like wind power. Like some kind of, I don't know, you could get like a bit massive, imagine like a massive tablecloth, but made out of like canvas. And then you could put that up and then the wind could catch that and it could propel the ship forward. What do you reckon?
It would be a lot slower. A lot slower.
It wouldn't be that much slower. Ships go fucking slow anyway. It's like 20, they're going at 20 miles an hour and they're like, yeah, go really fucking fast. I'm strongly considering going into debt to put solar on our rented from family home. Do you think it's worth it? I would put solar on my own home if I could afford it, but I wouldn't put it on a rented house because you're just making more money for somebody else. I don't know. Take them with you when you go. If you can take them with you when you go, then yeah, definitely go for it. Martin says, Diz, given the nature of the game, the rugby parents are way more civilized than football. We even stand together on the sidelines. Football parents take opposite sides of the pitch. There you go. It's the old rugby versus football. Egg ball versus round ball debate that'll go on for the rest of the time. I mean, really, rugby, you know, it is just football. Cheating football. Cheating football where you can pick the ball up and throw it.
I just don't get it. You know, any sports ball, I just don't understand personally. It's just people kicking balls about.
Well, in rugby, you can kick forward, but you can only pass back. And that's why.
See, that doesn't make sense.
because passing back was something that you used to have to do in football. That the little leftover thing from that is the offside rule. You're not allowed to shoot forward to the goal if there's not if there's not two people between you and the goal from the other team, something like that. Anyway, that's the good thing about cricket. So they're bringing cricket into this now, Ollie. You'll be glad to hear.
Oh, cricket now.
The parents start playing it, and it is a cricket ball heading their way. So basically, you brain the parents with a cricket ball. That's all fun. Any other sports that people want to say is better than some other
any more hot
takes? Any more hot takes on sports people? Well, you see, in this game where you hit a ball with a stick, and this game you hit a ball with your hand, and this one you hit it with your foot.
I'll tell you what I also saw this week as well. Sweden's UBI experiment concluded.
Yes.
And to no one's surprise, it was a rip-roaring success.
Oh, again! That keeps happening!
Again, I know.
So go on, tell us what happened.
Well, again, two of the biggest factors were, of course, everyone keeps on saying, oh, well, if you do UBI, it will reduce employment. It didn't, actually. It increased employment by about 28%. So,
wow,
you know, that's a pretty big bump. Not only that, but I think it was 12, no, around, I think it was 12, around about 12% of people start their own business.
Yeah.
Because they've got that bit of financial stability to be able to do that. That was, again, a good outcome for that. It allowed a lot more people, I believe 7% of people went back to university.
Yeah.
Because they had access to funds. They could now go and study. So, again, that's good for your economy as well. If you've got people going to university, you know, getting those degrees as well.
Yeah.
So, overall, big increase, you know, general roundabout success. And I think people also forget we are doing one in the UK as well.
Yes, in Scotland, isn't it?
No, it's in Wales.
Oh, Wales, sorry.
So it is to do with children who have just left care, where they're still in the system, but they're too old to be in the system now. So they are getting UBI until they are about 23, 24, I think it is. So that will be a very interesting program to see what that comes out with, and what the outcomes of that happen to be. And I believe that started last year, I think, roughly around about. Yeah. So that'll be quite an interesting experiment when that sees happen. But once again, UBI, when we do all these experiments, it always seems to have really, really good outcomes.
Yeah. Well, so employment actually increased 12% as people used income security to start businesses, pursue education, or escape abusive jobs for better opportunities. Mental health hospitalizations dropped by 34%. Crime fell by 41%, and children's educational performance improved dramatically. The program cost less than existing welfare bureaucracy while producing vastly better outcomes.
Yep.
So why aren't we doing it?
Needs to be advocated for, really. At the end of the day, needs to be advocated for, needs to be
the oil companies don't want it.
as a policy.
Yeah, the oil companies don't want it.
It's not a case of they don't want it. It needs to be sold to people. It needs to be sold as a policy to people. The best example of a good policy that was sold very badly was, of course, the free broadband policy. Thanks to Corbyn, a very, very good policy, but
he was just trotted out at the last minute.
Wasn't thought about.
Wasn't even in the manifesto. And then free broadband. Okay. Right.
The problem is, if you talk to some campaigners about that, like from that, they've said we can't even float that idea again because people just laugh because the outcomes of it were that bad. It's something that needs to be sort of start to be sold to people as a policy, and again, these things should be cited and sort of brought up and sort of start having that conversation. And not only that, but not just UBI, but how do we actually do UBI? What does it involve? Do we replace the benefit system with it? Do we still keep the benefit system, but UBI still happens? There's an awful lot of all the conversations that still need to happen, and those conversations aren't happening. No. So it's just starting that conversation and having more people think about what it's all going to entail. Like, what is the policy actually going to look like? At the end of the day. So these, research things that we have are great, brilliant. That backs up, more reason to have UBI. But now they need to look at, right, well, this now needs to be sold to, population. How is that going to look like? What is it going to do? So we'll see. I have no doubt eventually UBI will become a thing. But it's just, how do you sell it now? How do you start to sort of sell this idea to people? How do you convince people that UBI is a good idea for the country to adopt? So far, one of the things that will be, of course, commented on is a lot of these things have been somewhat small scale, so you'd have to really show that this could also be scaled up on a national scale as well. So there's a lot of, I think, still work to do in that as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that we could just do that work, and they're being held back by the rich, by the moneyed elite, by the oil companies, the tobacco barons, the arms manufacturers, and they want us to live in a perpetual state of fear that we will end up on the streets. And when things are proposed to stop that from happening, they fucking lose their shit. And unfortunately, it does look like a lot of British politicians are in the pocket of these cowboys. And it's one of the reasons that if you're a politician, you shouldn't be able to accept any gifts. You shouldn't be able to go to any private enterprise that's being paid for to go and show your face. No, you're a politician. You're separate to that. It's like this idea that if you're a priest, when you're in the church, that's okay. But once you're out the church, you don't have to follow the rules of being a priest. And that's not how it works. You can't just get married and go, oh, well, I wasn't in the church. The rule is, if you're a priest, you can't get married. Imagine if loads and loads of priests were, defying that rule, and everyone's looking at them going, "Why'd you become a priest then?"
Yeah,
gotta worry. But yeah, so we've got that. We've got what else has been going on? We've the cost of Gaza's rebuilding, $70 billion. That's kind of insane. I did do a super chat goal. I should have mentioned it, shouldn't I? If you do want to have confetti, we've got 15 minutes, if that, to the end of the show to get some confetti. We've got five super chats, and we can get confetti, any flavor super chat. So if you want to throw some in, that will make Diz very, very happy, and I'll unleash the confetti animation, which is very exciting. So what else is happening in the US? The world's oldest tortoise has died at the age of 141.
Oh no!
Richard Branson's wife has died at the age of 80, which is sad. They were together for 50 years. It was my parents' 50th wedding anniversary last week. I found some old cine footage that I had filmed with my digital video camera years ago, and put that together as a video for my mum. But my dad's had dementia for the last 10 years, so it's not been, great. But, they're still there. Still, 50 years, man.
Yeah.
Impressive. There's what's his name? Mark. Oh, I forgot his name now. There's a American senator who is now being attacked by the Trump administration. They say that they're going to give him a court martial because he said hurty words about Trump. He did a video telling people, servicemen and women, that they had to follow the law.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be that's going to come back to bite him maybe in the future, or potentially soon, sooner rather than later.
Former naval officer, and 4 times astronaut. He's been up in space 4 times on the shuttle. That's quite cool, isn't it? I'm just seeing which. Go on.
The other thing was sign the petition for a public inquiry into Russia influencing UK politics and democracy.
Yes. We have got now, I was doing this morning, we had 35,000 signatures. We're now up to
48,000.
48,000. So if you want, jump into the chat there, and in the chat you should find where it says @GrainPolitics. You should be able to see the petition there, which is exciting. It's exciting.
Yep, and it's ticking up quite nicely now as well. It's getting doing quite nicely.
At this rate, hopefully it'll get over 100,000, and then it will be considered for debate. Labour would be suicidal not to go for this. Like, it would be the most. I mean, of all the stupid things Labour's done since it got into office, this would be the stupidest not to jump on this. Call for a public inquiry into Russian influence on UK politics and democracy.
I think it needs to be done. I think given what's obviously happened with all the Nathan Gill stuff, needs to happen. Yeah. My only worry is, people have taken like issue with Starmer, like, why aren't you investigating Reform UK? You have to remember, what would Farage do? Farage would have an absolute PR press day.
Yeah.
Right, with this, and there is a chance, if they did that and that inquiry doesn't turn up anything, Farage will have an even bigger field day.
Yeah.
So Starmer cannot just go instantly and use the government to say, right, we're going to investigate Reform UK.
Yeah. Because
it is a potential massive PR coup for Farage. Even if it starts, if it fails and doesn't find anything, that is it. You are almost giving Farage a massive gift. So them doing it this way and say, right, we're going to just have another, I don't know, Russia Report Electric Boogaloo Part 2.
Yeah, one that actually looks at the referendum. One that looks at the referendum, because the last one didn't even look at the referendum. We need one that looks at the referendum.
Yeah, because they weren't interested in looking at the referendum last time.
Yeah, because they got the result they wanted. The corrupt bastards.
So that'll be something to see. Definitely definitely to have a look at.
Glorious.
And hopefully that happens. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
But it is good that it is gathering a lot of momentum on this. And I think it's got quite a few MPs as well that I've seen are also backing this as well. And they're pushing this. So that's quite good to see as well.
Yeah. Also, in the States, $10.3 million worth of meth, crystal meth, was found in a lettuce shipment. 500 packages hidden inside 1,153 pounds of lettuce.
So a lot of tasty cabbage.
These people having a BLT and getting off their tits from all the cocaine that I managed to seep out of the packages.
Oh, you can see that happening now from a mile away.
Yeah.
Couple of months time, people.
Meanwhile,
Just people having a salad.
yeah. Just
Why are you testing positive for crystal meth?
Yeah. Sheikh Hasina, the former prime minister of Bangladesh, has been sentenced to death in absentia. She's in India at the moment in exile. I don't think India's going to give her up. But yeah, she was found guilty of the not basically murdering a bunch of students who protested against her. And she's probably guilty of that, to be honest with you, looking at the evidence. Although this was a political move by her enemies. But she did it. She said, "Yeah, go and fucking kill them all." So yeah, but I'm not a supporter of the death penalty, and I think that India's probably not going to hand her over anytime soon. I don't know. I doubt it. They will. But yeah, it's kind of a bit grim, you know. You got the former leader of Bangladesh being sentenced to death, which is, you know, leaves a bad taste. But then you've also got the fact that Bolsonaro of Brazil has started his 27-year, I think, jail sentence today.
Yeah. Did you hear he tried to escape?
No, did he?
Yeah, no,
that's why they arrested him earlier, didn't they? Like last week, they arrested him.
He apparently was caught trying to burn off his tag because it currently is under house arrest.
Right.
So apparently he was trying to burn off his monitoring tag. And the funny thing was that apparently he and Trump had been talking. So now there's rumors that he was going to try and flee to America and get asylum with Trump.
Wow. Wow.
How true that is, I don't know, but
I think
that's
what
people, because apparently Trump had been saying that he was talking to Bolsonaro at that exact time where he was trying to escape. So
yeah,
you know.
Yeah. So apparently the latest on the situation with Ukraine, Russia, and the US, the White House has said that further talks are required after a meeting that concluded yesterday, I think. But the US official says that Kyiv has agreed to latest plans to end the war, but Russia says it could reject any efforts to twist proposals. And now that, you know, the riches of that original proposal have been dangled in front of the Russians, are they really going to say, "Oh no, actually, yeah, no, we should pull out. We should give up all this territory. We should leave Crimea"?
Yeah, no, Russia is not going to agree to any of these proposals unless it gets what it wants.
Yeah,
because Putin has to try and sell this as a win. You know, he has to convince all, like, you know, has to convince the Russian populace that all this loss of life, you know, military equipment, all their treasure, the fact that they've, you know, Russia used to have a surplus. It ran a budget surplus. It's not anymore. You know, it's not anymore. So it has to really convince people, or at least show people, all this has been worth it. And that is really ultimately what we have to deny Putin as much as possible. If we can completely deny it, great. But yeah, we'll see.
It's it's like every time Trump tries to interfere in these things, you're like, "Oh God, you're making a bad situation worse." But he just wants the credit, doesn't he? He just wants the credit for ending the war, no matter how. But these tensions are going to simmer on forever if this isn't, you know, brought to a conclusion that requires Russia to get the fuck out of Ukraine. That's just the fact. You know, the Ukrainians are like this. They'll say, "We'll fight with sticks and stones. We'll fight with spades. We'll fight with shovels. You know, if we have to. We'll go all Sisu on them."
Yeah.
And they will. They absolutely will, because they have no intention of being Russian. You know, they had a nice little country going there, and then Russia came along, fucking wrecked everything. And there's no one in Ukraine whose life hasn't been affected negatively by the war.
Yeah. And yeah, this is the worrying thing is where will they go next? I mean, if you've been seeing what's happening in Narva, which is basically a little city on the border with Estonia and Russia, they've been talking about, like, Russia's basically been talking about taking that city back.
Yes.
Not like invading Estonia, just that's ours, so we're just taking it back.
I once got arrested in Narva.
Oh,
I
how
tried
did
to
you get arrested?
I tried to wade across the river. Well, I did wade across the river Narva to the Russian
Which is the
side.
border.
Yeah. Because
I can
there
see
was
why you got arrested
there
now.
was like a bridge, but it was covered in like barbed wire and shit. And I thought, well, that looks too dangerous. So I just walked down the river, and there's an island in the middle of the river which used to have I don't know a warehouse on it or something back in the fucking the 1940s. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just wade across to this island in the middle of the river, and then I'll clock my GPS, make sure I'm over halfway across, and I've stepped foot in Russia, all fucking 12 time zones of it. Anyway, so then I get halfway, I look at my GPS, I'm like, okay, I'm in Russia now. I turn around, and as I'm walking back, I see a flare go up in the sky, and I was like, oh, is that for me? And then I start walking up the bank, and there's already Estonian police officers who were there, like, waiting to grab me, and they bundled me back in the back of the Estonian car. They thought I was a Russian coming over from Russia to the EU to escape Vladimir Putin. When I wasn't, I was just a tourist, and I got lost. Or at least that's the story I told them. Please don't look at my GPS data. So yeah, that happened. But yeah, so I know Narva well. Well, you know, as well as anyone who's been arrested somewhere can know it. Yeah, they wish me well. And then years later, that came to bite me on the arse, because the Guinness Book of Records said, we're not accepting your record because you didn't take a legal route into an official crossing into Russia. So I had to go back to Russia at the end of my journey and stay the night in Kaliningrad, which I think we should take back for Prussia. I think that should be Prussia. We should have a new country called Prussia. That'll piss them off, wouldn't it? Fill it full of Germans again. It used to be full of Germans. I think it was called Kolensberg or something. Kolensberg? I don't know, something like that. Anyway, we're gonna have to wrap it up there, mate, because it's.
Oh,
it's
can we also talk about the most cringiest thing a prime minister has ever done? Very briefly. Yeah. God.
Okay, go on. You tell us what happened. Tell us what happened, Ollie. We can all cringe together.
Something I never thought I would ever see.
Cringe together.
Yeah. You can. I think you can see it on TikTok. So I don't know if it's still up on the official Prime Minister's TikTok page. Literally, the girl says, "Oh yes, it's on." They're looking up on this thing of like, "Oh, it's between page 6 and 7," and then the Prime Minister suddenly goes like that.
6, 7.
Yeah. To which a chaos basically ensued. Needless to say, it's probably going to be a feature and maybe even a meme for a very long time to come. But you know what? That's the kind of thing I want to see Keir Starmer do more of.
Even though it's massively cringe.
Even though it's massively cringy.
He got told off because it's been banned from the school. You're not supposed to 6-7 in that school. Anyway, Graham Price says, I was reading about that a little while back on your wiki page. Interesting to hear it from you, lol. Yeah. What a time to be alive. So I'm going to head off now. And Ollie, I'm sure you've got things to do. If you would like to continue watching, you will get automatically redirected over to our friend Max's. Over to Max's stream. So you don't have to go anywhere. Just keep watching. And after the credits, you'll go there automatically. So I just want to say thanks for watching. Thanks for the super chat off Brad. Thanks, Brad. Keeping us going there. And I'll be back at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for Morning Brew. And then more importantly, at 12 o'clock, we've got Prime Minister's Questions, followed by at 12:30 tomorrow, we've got the budget. We'll be doing a watch party of the budget here on Politics Social with me and you, I hope, in the chat. So please join us for that. And until then, I'll say thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Give us a like on the way out as well. We always like a like. And until next time, hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.
Bye.